To Mountain View, her life took a giant turn for the better. Here she met the love of her life, Tom Williams. She came into his Antique Interiors West store, where Jeannie and many of you have been there and worked there. And people who know Julie love Julie. She's such a loyal friend, such a warm and wonderful person that when you know her, and you're your friend, you treasure that friendship. She walked into his Antique West store in Palo Alto looking for some lights to remodel their home, the home that she had purchased. Tom says, when she walked in that store, a bomb went off. The minute I set eyes on her, she knocked me off my feet. Thinking she was most likely married, he asked to see her driver's license, pretending he needed it to finalize the purchase and the credit card. He was so flustered trying to find whether she was married or not. I guess it told back then if you were married or not. Maybe it still does. I don't know, but it did then. He was fumbling around and taking too long. She finally said to him, "Is there a problem?" He, without knowing, handed her the license back and then watched her leave the store. He was totally distressed that he had lost his chance. He'd done nothing to try to find out more about this fabulous lady while they had a chance. So he was very despondent about this. But a few days later, one of his employees informed him that Mrs. Hill was returning to exchange one of those shades. Well, Tom got ready this time. He set out elegant refreshments served in the finest water for crystal. She didn't show up. He waited and waited. Can you imagine going back to return something and having the proprietor of the store have refreshments and water for crystal ready for you? And she didn't show up, and finally, crestfallen, he started to eat the food and turn out the lights to go home. Just in time, Julie came running in the store. She saw the half-eaten food and confidently inquired, "Was that for me?" It wasn't until many years later that Tom learned from a friend that Julie had been equally impressed with him on their first meeting. In a cabinet in the front of their house today, you can still find that lampshade that Julie returned to the store and brought her back into Tom's life forever. Tom changed the hardship of Julie's previous years into joyful times and a wonderful life. Ultimately, it was actually Julie who proposed, who finally asked him, "Don't you think it's time I got married?" Exactly 1 year from the day that Julie walked in the store, they were married in that store, and Tom immediately adopted her son, Brian. Tom's mission in life since that time has been to keep Julie happy. He loved her and her son. With their many common interests, music, they attended many years of the New Orleans Jazz Festival where they had a place, travel, cars, antique boats and motorcycles, business, remodeling and restoring historic homes, good food, good friends, and warm hospitality. Tom and Julie have enjoyed wonderful years and a rich, rich life. Especially memorable was their first trip to New York City, where chauffeured limousines delivered them to elegant restaurants and hotels, a fairy tale adventure for a woman from Nephi, Utah, who had struggled to make finances meet until that time. The most blessed event of their marriage occurred when a daughter, Afton, was born. Soon after that time, they purchased a vacation home in Lake Tahoe, which became a beloved spot for the whole family. They've enjoyed the happiest of times there over the years and have played a huge part in the Tahoe Historical Society. Right now, have been donating amazing things to the Thunderbird mansion there on the lake where they're preparing an historic museum. The Williams always took their beloved cat with them to Tahoe. What's that cat's name, Afton?
Lucky.
Lucky, the cat, who astonishes us and many other people because Afton has trained that cat to growl and scratch when she names a Democratic president and to purr when she names a Republican president. this is, you may think this is unbelievable, but it's true. And many of us have seen it, and it's not just one or two, it's many. I can't comprehend such a feat. It was at Tahoe when one of Tom's big surprises for Julie backfired. He presented Julie for her birthday with an exquisite antique wooden boat, the Ajax, a well-known and favorite boat on Lake Tahoe. Tom, being a connoisseur of antique cars, and the routine winner of first places with his cars in venues as prestigious as the Pebble Beach and Stanford Concours d'Elegance, thought that Julie would love pursuing a similar hobby with antique boats. But on presenting his surprise, to his great dismay, Julie told him that they couldn't possibly afford such a frivolous expenditure and that he should have consulted her before making such an outlandish purchase. Crestfallen, Tom tried to redeem himself. He found another buyer down at the boat dock, or store, or down at the boat dock, and it was introduced to this man from New York by the man who managed the dock, and so he excitedly got on the phone and called Julie, who wasn't far away at the house, and said, "I've redeemed myself, I found another buyer, and we're actually making a profit." A few minutes later, Julie rushed in, where Tom, the buyer, the boat dock owner, and quite a few boat connoisseurs were watching this momentous sale of this favorite boat. Julie marched in and declared, "What are you doing down here? You're not going to sell that boat. It's my boat and I'm taking it back." Julie went on to make history as the first woman to win first prize for both the restoration of an antique boat and for winning the highly competitive, highly acclaimed, highly anticipated antique boat race that takes place in Lake Tahoe. Is it yearly or every other year? Every other year. And they come from all over the world, famous boats, famous people. Julie won first prize in the restoration as well as piloting this boat that won the race. And was that the Comet that won the race? The following year, the poster that you can see out here in the foyer is one of my favorite things that I've seen about Julie. It's a poster that advertises next year's race. A painting of Julie Williams at the helm of her speedboat, nosing out the other competitors, all men. Julie went on to win armloads of first place awards. She and her boats and the Williams family are legends at Lake Tahoe. It was when Afton was in 5th grade at Loyola School that Tom suggested the family begin to attend church. Now, he'd been told by various friends not to admit that his wife was a Mormon, but he never understood why. He liked Mormons, we're glad to say. He thought the great youth program offered by the church would be wonderful for their daughter. One day, Bishop Chris McCaskill, who's sitting back here, received a call from a woman telling him that she was an inactive Mormon named Julie Williams who was thinking of coming back to church.